Coca-Cola made a bold move this year in social media. It's called Expedition 206. The company sent 3 young brand ambassadors to 206 countries where Coke is sold to discover what makes people happy. In this interview, Adam Brown, Group Director of Digital Communications at Coke, talks about the social media project and what his company hopes to accomplish.
Well, a little over a year ago, a couple of my colleagues and I were sitting in my office. We were really thinking about how do we create some super compelling content online. We've been fortunate to have over 4 million, almost 4 million fans on Facebook right now. We're doing some great things on Twitter and some other online social media properties around the world. But how do we create a great story? So if you really think about it, social media, when it's effective, is about storytelling. It's about having that honest dialogue. And we kind of joked about it. Wouldn't it be interesting if we were to send 3 young people to all the places around the world, 206 countries where Coca-Cola does business, and have them tweet about it, have them blog about it, have them share their experience of seeking out happiness in all corners of the world? Well, we pitched the idea to my big boss, Senior Vice President Clyde Tuggle of Public Affairs. He loved the idea. We went to Mr. Joe Tripodi, our Chief Marketing Officer. He loved the idea. We got the green light about 5 months ago, and just earlier this week we announced the winners. The ambassadors are actually going to get to take this trip. We didn't pick the winning finalists, the winning people who are going to take this trip. Our fans did. And we were so excited that over 75% of the votes that came in were from our international countries. So our international folks around the world were very excited about this. Our fans around the world picked the people who are going to go on this trip, and now our fans changed their job descriptions a bit. They're going to be our tour guides. We're going to be going to them in social media, asking them, what do we do in each of these 206 countries? We're very excited about it. It starts on January 1st in Spain, and 206 countries later we'll end up on December 31st, 2010, back in Atlanta, Georgia.
The ambassadors are free to create the content they want.
We've really kept it pretty open for them. We've asked them, and the one thing that's great about these ambassadors are their skills. Not only do they have the passion and enthusiasm that are emblematic of Coca-Cola, but they're great filmmakers, they're great bloggers. We really chose the semi-finalists based upon those skill sets. So we're asking them to seek out happiness in all the corners of the world. So maybe they'll do an interview with a street musician in Bangladesh. Maybe they will interview or see some great art. Maybe they'll see a pretty sunrise or sunset. Maybe they'll talk to school teachers or philanthropists in these different parts of the world that are doing amazing things. But at the end of the day, it's really what we call a reality TV show without the TV. These ambassadors are going to be experiencing things as they break this world record, and we really don't know what's going to happen, and that's, I think, half the fun of it. At Coca-Cola, I think we realize the importance of social media for our brands, and not just with the young people, 12 to 15, 15 to 18-year-olds, but really all of our audiences. We realize every day there's over 5,000 conversations online that mention Coca-Cola. We have an opportunity, and I would say a responsibility, to participate in some of these conversations. When people are talking about us, when they're complimenting us, when they're really excited about Coke, we have an opportunity to really engage in that conversation. When they've been misinformed, when they have information that needs to be corrected, we have a responsibility to participate. We have 2 mantras at Coca-Cola in the social media space. One is keep fish where the fish are. In other words, rather than building these big websites where we drive people to, we're going to start putting this compelling content in the places where people are. The Bebo, the Orchids, the High Five, the QQs, the Facebooks, all those places. Our second rule is really to keep fans first. Realize that we are invited guests in these online conversations and communities. That our brand isn't what we say it is. Our brand, the world's most recognized brand in Coca-Cola, is what our fans, our consumers think it is. So we need to remember that each and every step along the way.
Social media work shouldn't be limited to the communication department, Brown says.
I think Coca-Cola, like many companies, is trying to determine how do we handle this? How do we wrangle the conversations that are taking place about us every day? How do we participate in these conversations? And one thing that I feel passionately about is at the end of the day, it shouldn't be my department. It shouldn't be the digital communications people at Coca-Cola that are participating in these conversations. It should be the subject matter experts. If it's a question about health and wellness, it should be one of our registered dietitians that answers the question. If someone has a question about our packaging, for example, we should get one of the people who designed our new reduced PET packaging, or plant bottle, which is made out of plant fibers. If it's a question about some of our flavors or our new products, let's get the marketing people, let's get the scientists who are involved. However, that's a great idea. The challenge, though, is how do we empower the right people to be able to respond? And one of the things that we're going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks is our new social media principles. Tools and principles that allow our associates around the world, our 100,000 associates at Coca-Cola and our 1 million associates, if you include all the associates in our bottler organization, to participate where appropriate online. They can be our greatest evangelist if we empower them. But at the same time, we've got to mitigate risks. So our principles are all around empowering the subject matter experts to respond and participate, but also make sure that we're protecting the world's most recognized and respected brand.
Coke's social media guidelines aren't defined by platform, but rather stress transparency and common sense.
We launched our first social media guidelines in January of 2008. And very quickly we realized after that they became out of date. New technologies. Twitter wasn't around in January of 2008 as a prominent tool when we launched these. So in our new principles, we really focused on making them as evergreen as possible. We don't talk about platforms. We don't talk about technology. What we do talk about is transparency and disclosure. We talk about using common sense. We talk about ensuring that the subject matter experts that are most appropriate respond to those particular things. Our principles go into 3 levels. First is 5 rules and 5 commitments that the company makes on behalf of the company about what we're going to do about protecting people's personal information, what we do and what we commit to from a privacy and security standpoint. Number 2 is what do we ask our associates who are not official spokespeople for the company? Things for them to remember when they are online on Facebook at 2 o'clock in the morning and they see something that has to do with our brand or our industry. The third area is what do we ask our official spokespeople, the people who have gone through our social media certification process, what do we ask them to do when they are representing the company online?
Brown hopes public relations will take more advantage of social media than it currently does.
I think we're in an interesting crossroads with public relations, communications, and advertising or marketing. We're really seeing those two worlds collide, much like George Costanza on Seinfeld. Worlds were colliding, his personal life and his friendship life. We're seeing the same thing with advertising and public relations. And I really think we need to push our public relations industry to look at this and identify this and take advantage of the situation right now. About 10 years ago, when the web really became a prominent tool for us to use in both PR and advertising, I really think that advertising really led the pack. And I think at this point, public relations needs to really try to be doing the same thing. If you look at what social media is about, it's about a conversation, it's about dialogue. It's about changing someone's feelings, perceptions, beliefs, emotions about a product, a brand, or service. It's more than that than it is about a call to action, a direct call to action to get you off your sofa one day and go buy that new wrench at Sears. And I think that is one of the reasons that PR really needs to take advantage of the opportunity right now.